I think the job of being a teacher is so rewarding in so many ways.
The connection between you and the whole class, that's still unbeatable.
When my pupils are successful, it feels incredible.
I think the greatest thing for me is seeing the pupils that I teach love the subject as much as I do.
I don't think there's any other job where you get the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search Apply to Teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
For the first time in 13 years, the co-hosts of Gamertag Radio are going to have the first live recording in front of an audience during PodFest 2018. This live recording event is free to attend February 9th, 2018 from 6 to 7 p.m. It's going to take place at PodFest Multimedia Expo 2018 in Orlando, Florida. See Paris, Pete, and Danny live at PodFest 2018. For more information, head over to gamertagradio.com or podfest.us.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio. With your host, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Here we go.
Welcome to Gamertag Radio episode 729. This is your host, Danny. And joining me this week, we have Pete in the house. Pete.
Good evening. What up?
Good, man. What's up with you, man?
Nothing much, man. Here, it's been a slow Wednesday for me. I don't know about you guys. It's just been a real slow day. Like, everything's been going in slow motion.
Okay.
Day 34, still no car back from Tire Kingdom. Comcast.
I hope you're complaining.
Oh,
about that.
trust me.
That's crazy.
I've had multiple calls over the last 2 days with Tire Kingdom and district managers and stuff, and hopefully there's some changes in the works. Comcast obviously is still pooping the bed. I still have packet loss here at the house, so I can't really do any live streams or host like the show and stuff like that. So shout out to Paris for coming off the bench and hooking it up, and helping out.
Yeah, no introduction. Mr. Paris, welcome back.
What do you mean, welcome back? I
don't know.
I've been right here. What are you talking about? And Pete, I'm glad that you've had such a leisurely stroll through your Wednesday, as I am standing up 2 new data centers in my environment and having to do firewall review of all the flipping rules. I've been doing that all day today, which is why I thought I wasn't going to be on. Not to mention our official PCI audit starts next Monday. So it's like I've just been juggling hoops all day, or jumping through hoops, excuse me, all day.
No thanks.
So
no thanks. I have staff to do that. That's why.
It's a team effort over here, buddy. Sorry that you just sit back and direct.
Hey, you got a team and then you got the coach. I'm the head coach.
No, everyone. Hopefully on Friday, I'm going to start streaming again because first, we were on vacation. Then I was really focused on finishing the documentary. Now I'm already done, so now I could start streaming again and stuff. So Friday, I'm coming back one more time, man. I'm gonna come back and start streaming some games there. So we'll see. Maybe I'll play some Division, some PUBG. We'll see. See what's up. All right, head over to gamertagradio.com. Post your comments and feedback. Listen to our past episodes. You could also find us on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and other podcast directories.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so I have a lot of content from... I was in New Orleans and I recorded over there, during the Call of Duty World League. I'm going to play that later on the podcast, so make sure to tune in. But I have to say this: I love New Orleans. New Orleans is a dope city. I have to put it like one of my top 3 cities so far. My favorite cities, man, from here in the States, man. Love it so much, man. And I was planning to meet up with a couple of our listeners from there, from New Orleans, but it was just time, and everybody also was watching the Saints game when I was over there too. So hopefully next time when I go over there, I definitely would like to meet some of our listeners that lives over there, man. So very, very cool. By the way, Pete, I know you posted this in the chat, man. A big announcement from Microsoft today. Couple changes over there.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a change you could call it. I think this was alluded to a while back, and I don't know if this is just it becoming official. But now Phil Spencer is the main guy at Xbox, right? So, shout out to him. And according to the news blurb from Microsoft, he was appointed the new boss of games and will now be handling the responsibilities of all of Microsoft Studios.
Interesting. Because before it was Phil Spencer, it was, what's his name? Kim? Something Kim.
Shane
Harris.
Kim.
We met him. Shane Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Shane Kim. He was also handling that. So do you think this is going to help Microsoft, or do you think they're going to go on a different path now with all these games that's coming in the future for the system with this announcement?
I think it helps solidify the vision and the future path towards which Microsoft is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's writing the ship, which was, it was taking on mad amounts of water when Xbox One launched in 2013. He's changed the direction, the perception, all for the better. There's still a good ways to go, I think, with regards to improving the overall clarity and everything associated. But I think it's a good direction to be in. They are they still have work to do, but I think they've got the right person in place right now. So it's a matter of time. Let's just, at this point, I don't think it makes sense to do what we commonly see in sports, with head coaches getting canned after one bad season or whatever. Consistency speaks volumes about an industry or about a company. And when you have constant turnover, it's not a good thing. So, it seems like Microsoft shares in the vision. Apparently Satya, Nadella, I think is his name. He's the CEO of Microsoft. He's drinking the Kool-Aid. So apparently he sees the vision. He agrees with it. So he's been appointed. I believe it's vice president of all things video games. So shout out to him. Congratulations.
Paris, any opinion about this before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, it's just along the lines of what Pete was saying. This will just solidify the Xbox division and the vision that Phil Spencer has had since he took over in 2014. Has it been now that long? But now he is the boss. He gets the true final say on what they do. I mean, literally the only other person that could override him is Satya Nadella, the CEO of the company. That's how high he's risen in the company now. So whatever vision and idea that Phil Spencer has for Xbox and for just gaming on the Windows side of the house, he can put it in motion now. He's already made mention that they want to solidify their studios. So he wants to acquire more studios. They want to have more exclusive titles on their platform. So he gets the final say on that now. So if anything, I'd just say this: as a gamer, this could only be good news. I think of all the people that we've known to be quote unquote heads of their gaming department over the past, I would even say 20 years, Phil Spencer is probably the biggest known gamer out of all of them. And he literally, puts his gamer score with his words. Like, you can literally go look up and see the games that he's playing, and he's putting in the time and the effort in them. So when he talks about a certain game, he's actually really playing them. He interacts with the on Xbox Live and will play with people in the community. We know, we've talked to Phil plenty of times. He's a good dude. So the fact that he's number 2 now, or I shouldn't say number 2 in the company, but the fact that he's vice president, head of all gaming at Microsoft, I think we all win in that. It's a good thing.
My question then moving forward is going to be, is Matt Booty, who's the former head of Minecraft business, who's going to be essentially taking over Phil's position taking over the role of overseeing Microsoft Studios, which in that respect is all first-party games for Microsoft. Do you think he's going to be able to handle it? I mean, I don't know much about him, so I don't know what that means, right? So does that mean that he's going to have the chops to now handle everything moving forward? The seriousness, like, I mean, this is a big deal, right? You're going to now be in charge of Microsoft Studios after only running Minecraft.
Yeah, that's a
major step up. That's a major step up.
But here's the thing. I think the timing of this announcement is very interesting too, because most of us been saying, where are the games? Where are the games? Where are the games? And by them making this announcement, maybe Microsoft has some announcements coming up for this year, man. Because I mean, come on, the timing is just perfect. Right before GDC, you know what I'm saying? Like right before all that, and plus, they usually show a lot of the games that's coming up for spring, right? During that time, and after that is E3, where they're gonna make even more announcements for the holidays. So the timing is very interesting. I think they're confident. By them making this announcement now. So at least we know that they got something cooking, I think. Because imagine they don't have nothing announced for this year. They're in trouble. So I think they had to make these changes and make this announcement at the right time, I think.
Well, think about it. I mean, you're going to have Bonnie Ross, Shannon Loftus, Alan Hartman running Turn 10, Rod Ferguson at Coalition, and Craig Duncan at Rare. Everybody's going to respond to Matt Booty, and Matt Booty is going to ultimately, answer to Phil Spencer. So apparently he has a long-standing history in the gaming industry. He's worked with Bonnie and Rod and everybody else in the past as a peer. So it's not like there's going to be a lot of change from a top-down perspective. They're already familiar and comfortable with working with him. So hopefully that familiarity translates to quality, right? That's been the big concern with all of us, is Microsoft's portfolio of games going to be enough? And hopefully this, and I don't even know if shakeup is the right word, but hopefully this change is enough, and it sends them down the right pathway. So we shall see.
Change is good. Change is good.
It's the one thing I've learned since going into management. The one constant is change. That's one of the things that one of my mentors taught me about a year or two ago. That in business, the only constant is change. So as long as you're prepared for it and you know how to handle it, you'll be fine.
Yep. All right. So the next thing, man, let's talk about this Nintendo announcement today, man. There was, people have been talking about this for a while. Like, oh, something's coming from Nintendo. What is it? So Nintendo announced Nintendo Labo. I don't know if you guys seen the trailer or not, but in the trailer there's like different kits that you buy where it has like cardboard boxes where you could let's say the one that you buy is the one that you could make like a robot, right? You could set it up, whatever, and you put the Nintendo Switch in there, and you could play that like on the Switch, like on the screen and stuff, or on the little screen too. But I think it looks cool, man. I think I know it's not for us, the older crowd. This is more for like the young audience. I think it's really cool, man. The parents could get together, help their kids, set this up and everything, and then start playing it, man. I think it's really, really cool. I think, man. So I gotta give props to Nintendo because, this is like straight up. Nobody else was thinking about this. They always like to take risk. You never know. Maybe this could be a big hit. This could be a big disaster when it comes out. But I see more good than bad with this announcement. What are your thoughts, guys?
Yeah, I mean, just what you said. I mean, I like Nintendo taking this risk, and I think some of the snark that we've seen on social media today about it, people need to take a step back and realize they didn't make this for you. They made it for your kids. You know, yeah. I think my youngest daughter would definitely be interested in this. So, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see what type of things you'll be able to do with it. I even saw a meme. It was hilarious where someone said they were going to take this and they go and they just made the kid Icarus. So this dude took 2 cardboard boxes and he attached them to his arms and he started flapping, trying to fly through the sky.
That is
that's pretty hilarious.
There's some good memes though. That's a good one. There's another one. I think it was one that they put they grab a cardboard and they put Mother 3 and they put it right next to the to the Switch, and they were like, damn, it's not working. They're trying to make like a new game and stuff. That, and there was another one that Pete posted on our chat that I was dying about Michael Pachter, his prediction. You know what I'm talking about, Pete?
Yeah. Let me see if I can
which
find
one was
it.
that?
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, Pete's looking for it. But when I read that, I was dying.
So Nintendo Labo or Labo, whatever I don't even know how to pronounce it, marks the first Michael Pachter prediction to ever come true. Pachter recently joked that Nintendo fans will buy anything related to Nintendo. Ironically, Nintendo fans totally bought it and are raging hard at the silver-haired love machine. I don't think Nintendo fans are so stupid they would buy a piece of cardboard, he suggested on Bonus Round. A box, on the other hand, that says Nintendo on it, they probably would. Remember when you were a kid and you get gifts, and when you're really little, you like the box better than the gift? That's how I think of Nintendo fanboys.
Oh God, come on, Michael. Yeah. This is during the what's Bonus Round? So this Wii U days. I think this was the Wii U days. Either Wii U or original Wii, one of the two. It was one of the two. That's funny. Yeah, I think it's really cool and very creative. I like this, man. The first people that I thought about was my nephews and nieces because they love building stuff and they're also gamers, so they're gonna remember this, man. So it's one of those games that they are gonna remember playing this, man. I mean, it's not a Zelda game or anything like that, but the games are gonna be available for the kids. It's like short mini games.
Yep.
You build and play.
So for those that are, listening or whatever, watching on the stream, you have 2 opportunities to actually go to a Nintendo studio to get hands-on with Nintendo Labo. If you just go to the Nintendo, I think it's labo.nintendo.com, look for the events button. There's going to be events at the beginning of February and the beginning of March. It's a 3-hour hands-on event in New York City and in San Francisco. So February 2nd through the end of 3rd in New York City, and then March 2nd through the 4th in San Francisco. You have to be ages 6 to 12, and you'll get a chance to attend a 3-hour Nintendo Labo studio hands-on event. So space awesome. Is very limited. So if you get a chance and you're in the area and you want to go check it out, there it is.
Cool. All right, so there's already prices already that because I just got the press release from Nintendo. So there is the Toy-Con RC car.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's also a fishing rod kit that you could buy. I saw that one. That one looks pretty cool. There's a Toy-Con house. Don't know how that's going to work. A motorbike, piano, which that's the one that they showed in the trailer. Those kits is going to cost $69.99. And the robot kit is going to cost $79.99. So, yep, it's going to come out April 20th. The end of April. So, the thing that I like about this announcement, thank God Nintendo didn't put this part of the Nintendo Direct. Because I think Nintendo Direct was for a totally different audience, and this one is for a different crowd. So I think it was great, man.
Do you think that price is the right thing?
Mm-hmm. Personally, for me,
I think it's a little. I don't know why it's a little steep for cardboard.
It is. But we don't know what's inside. That's I need to know more what's inside the kit. It's not only cardboard boxes. There's going to be games too, Pete.
Well, I'm looking at the robot kit, right? And it says it's sold separately. The Nintendo Switch system required is sold separately. It comes with the software.
Yeah.
It comes with what was that? 23 pieces of cardstock, stickers, strings, and straps. For $79, you said, for the robot kit.
Mm-hmm.
For $80.
I mean, look, man, I'm just giving you my feedback. I think it's a cool thing. It could be a disaster, or it could be like the biggest hit out there. You never know.
I'm not disagreeing, and so because this is this is an early adopter, society. Everybody wants to jump in and get on the latest and greatest. I mean, we're seeing it with bit mining and all of that, and cyber currency, etc. But we know that this is going to sell out immediately.
Yeah,
we've seen.
100%. Oh yeah, it's gonna.
This is going to go off
sell like crazy.
This is going to.
There's a lot of adults that are planning to buy it too, man. Just for them, they don't even have kids. They're like, "Well, I'm buying the robot version."
Oh yeah,
like,
wow. There's going to be people that are going to buy it just to hawk it on eBay for twice the price because they want to be predators on. They want to prey on parents who are trying to buy stuff for their kids. I think it's really cool. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, it's not for me. I would probably get it if the price was lower. I don't know if having to buy all three and shelling out somewhere along the lines of almost $200 is worth it. I don't know.
Paris, which version you see yourself buying for your kids?
I don't know. I want to kind of show it to them because I don't even think they've seen it yet, and kind of just see what they say. I don't know.
Okay, cool. All right, another topic here I want to mention very quick. Paris, you guys were right, man, about Fable, man. I was listening to your conversation. I know a couple times you guys brought it up in the past too. But Playground Games, man, working on a new Fable. This is from Eurogamer that they have a source that told them that yes, they are working on this. They also sent an email to get some comments from Microsoft. They declined. They didn't want to say anything. So I think it looks like it's going to happen, but not 2018. I see this maybe a year from now, maybe. But I think you guys were right.
Is it confirmed? Yeah,
no, they're not going to confirm anything. This is still all rumor and speculation. But gotcha. I mean, like I said, Playground confirmed. It was right after Forza Horizon 3 came out that they were working on a quote unquote RPG. So if you go by that, then that means they may have started on this game around late 2016. So let's just for a second say this is all true. So Playground Games, they're making Fable 4. Yeah, like Danny's saying, 2019 at the earliest. There's no way it would make it out in 2018. So that's a holiday game for them in 2019. That would give them about 3 years of development time. So kind of adds up. Makes sense.
Yeah. If they announce it during E3, then yes, sometime holiday of next year, I think it'll make sense. If not, the latest, in my opinion, will be maybe 2020, spring of 2020, if they manage to put it off. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's different at work when you're working on an RPG game than a racing game. I think a racing game will be a little bit easier compared to an open world type game. Right. Now, I'm wondering how the game is going to look and how it's going to play.
Well, again,
that's the question.
We're now in an era of RPG games. If you ain't doing something like Assassin's Creed or The Witcher 3, then you just need to get the hell out of here because I'm not playing it. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. So I hope, again, selfishly speaking, I would really love to see them go very ambitious with Fable and just give us this open world. This is Albion. That's how you pronounce the world, right? Albion. I would love to just see a huge Albion world inspired by, like we said, a Skyrim, Witcher 3, or Assassin's Creed Origin. I just think that would be a major coup for Microsoft to have something like that. Hell, again, even Horizon Zero Dawn. Just give me that world, with Albion. I'm down. I would love to see that. So now to kind of shift it a little bit, because, Danny, you and I were talking about this a little bit offline. So again, we're just having fun here. None of this is real. This is rumors. The Perfect Dark thing, if that also turns out to be real, I don't think that makes 2018 either. Put it this way, If Halo 6 is really coming out this year, I highly doubt that Microsoft puts out 2 shooters this holiday. I just don't see it. That just you're crowding your own market. You're fighting against yourself. It's basically like EA did with Battlefield and Titanfall 2, putting them out back to back. That made no sense. So I could see a scenario where, let's just say Perfect Dark is real. Perfect Dark is next spring. So kind of like we got Sea of Thieves this spring. Perfect Dark would be next spring. Halo 6 comes out this holiday. And then, like I said, you have Fable going into next holiday. I think that'd be pretty nice little, 4 games that they have coming out with, within like a year period of each other that would be highly anticipated for them. Not to mention, we're going to probably get a Forza Horizon this year, and then Forza 8 would be 2019 as well.
2019.
So, yeah.
And Gears.
Yeah. And then that would be, would we get Gears in 2019? I could see that. And then, God, what was the other game I was just thinking of? And then the elusive Crackdown 3, because I don't think that comes out this year. That would probably come out at some point in 2019.
You still think it's 2019?
Yeah, I'm sticking to it, man. I don't think Crackdown 3 makes it this year, because I think if they're from what we've seen so far, dude, it needs, just put it in the oven, let it cook more. It needs time.
And you know what? I'm not mad at that if they push it.
Yeah, I'm not either. And that's my point. Again, this is the benefit of Phil Spencer being the head of everything. There's nobody above him rushing him to put a game out. And Phil Spencer's one of us. He knows. And I forget the Miyamoto quote that he said years ago, and I'd butcher it if I try to say it, but it's basically you put out an unfinished game. Now it's unfinished forever. Something he said, but he had a great quote about that. In other words, don't rush games. Take your time. Take your time with games. The game ain't ready yet. Take your time with it.
And don't forget MechAssault either. That was rumored too.
Another one.
Yeah, that's rumored too.
Dude, let me tell you. Just imagine we're at E3. We're checking out a Microsoft press conference. We're sitting down, and they just announced back to back classic games they haven't seen in a long time. I think the crowd is going to be very, very excited if they make that happen, man.
Now, the one game, again, if these rumors are true, see, now I hope the rumor ain't damn true, but if the rumors are true, no Banjo-Kazooie. No Banjo-Kazooie anytime soon. And just that makes me sad. You know what? You know why it makes me sad? You know why it makes me sad? Just to follow up on that. Gosh darn it! Look at Super Mario Odyssey. The platform was back, baby. Let's go. Give me Banjo, because I will still say to this day, and I will fight anybody on social media who wants to argue this with me. Banjo-Kazooie was a better game than Mario 64 back in the day.
Wow!
Fight me. It was a better game.
Wow!
That was the better platformer for that era.
That game did came out after Mario 64.
Yeah,
so they learned.
Yeah, they learned. Of course they did. Of course.
They learned and they added new stuff. Yeah. So I could agree with that. Because I think that Mario 64 was just something new that we have never seen.
Yeah, we had never seen
at that time.
Yeah, we had never seen that before. And look, don't get me wrong, Mario 64 is an amazing game, even to this day. But I'm trying to remember. So Mario 64 was launched, so that was 96. And then I think Banjo was 98. So that'd have been 2 years later, Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little bit worried though. I'm a little bit worried about the next Forza Horizon game, which most likely is going to come out this year, for sure. I love Forza Horizon 3, by far my favorite racing game that I played. The thing is, if they're working on Fable, what about Forza? Are they going to have another team working on that, or did their team?
They could have split the team because Horizon would be this year.
Yeah, September this year.
So either Playground split their team and they're doing Horizon, or like you said, they gave it to another studio,
or they hired more people.
Yeah, that's called splitting the team.
Yeah. I know, punk. I'm just saying. I don't know, man.
No, that'll be you know what? That'll tell a lot if Forza Horizon comes out and it's another team doing it, then literally Playground went all hands on deck with Fable 4, which, hey, it actually would be a good thing. That means the studio's attention wasn't split between two games. I'd rather see that, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And watch, we sitting there speculating all this. It ain't no damn Fable. Playground Games making Forza Horizon, and there ain't no Fable.
Fable?
Yeah,
we know Fable. What are you talking about?
Oh, and I mentioned it earlier, and I don't know if you guys caught it, but Conquer. That's another IP that's sitting there waiting to be used. Do you think that poses an opportunity for Microsoft as well?
Well, what was the last Conquer game that came out? Was it the announcement was for?
Yeah, Bad Fur Day. They remade it.
No. After that,
or Live and Reloaded.
There was maybe? One.
No, they did.
No, it was like a VR. Was
Project
it AR
Spark?
thing?
It was Project Spark.
Yeah,
he was
everybody like, oh my god, new Conquer game. We're like,
now,
wait a minute, it's not.
Hey, Miss Leo, I told y'all at the E3 press conference when they announced Project Spark. I go, this thing's on a friggin' flop. This will never work. I said it then. I just wasn't. I was never convinced that they were going to put the support behind it that it needed, and obviously they didn't. Because I mean, again, I know I'm tangenting off into something else. Like even Little Big Planet, when you go back and look at it for what it was, great concept, but it never quite pulled it off to its full potential, right? And that's why it'll be real curious to see what Media Molecule does with Dreams now, because that's obviously kind of just a natural successor to what they were doing with Little Big Planet. So, I mean, I don't know about these. I'm still on the fence about these games where they're basically handing us the tools to create the content for them, because they can't. Most people's mind goes straight to the gutter, and they're going to try to make the most pornographic things they possibly can. So they censor that out. So you can't do that. And while we saw some creative things in Little Big Planet, the community never just truly embraced it and it caught on. I don't think, I mean, I don't know if
I think it did. I think it did because I played a lot of Little Big Planet, and there was a lot of cool games that people created. Like me, I buy a game like that, I'm not gonna create anything. I just want to just play different type of games from other people. I just can't take my time and start.
Yeah, and like I said, I could be wrong. That's just a perception that I got from it. I mean, obviously, I made three Little Big Plans. They even made a PSP version of it, so it's not like it flopped.
Vita.
Did I? What I say? PSP? Yeah, Vita.
Yeah, you said PSP.
Right. Yeah, Vita. But yeah, I mean, now to be negative Nancy with Microsoft for a second, we're sitting here talking about Banjo and Conquer and Fable, and let's bring back all these games. And like some jacknut was arguing on Twitter today about we all said cameo, whatever, all that, right? But
yeah,
where's the new games? Where's the new IPs? New IPs, where are they?
That's the thing. We have to wait for E3, man.
I know, but I'm just saying that I think we can all agree here. Look. We'll all play Halo. We'll all play Gears. We'll play Fable. We'll play Perfect. We'll play all these games. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't want them to come. But where's their Horizon Zero Dawn? Where's their Detroit? Where's their Days Gone? Things like that. You know what I mean? Where, and again, I'm sure I'll get accused of being some Sony lover or whatever. But my point is, at least they're attempting new IPs. Whether there's be successes or failures, they have new IPs in the pipeline that we know about. And I'm just saying, I just want to see that from Microsoft too, which brings it all full circle back. It's a good thing that Phil Spencer now is in the position that he's in, because I guarantee you that's what he's going to do. There you go.
But you know what it is too, Paris, that yeah, we want new IPs, but how it is now with the competition, dude, it's rare for a new IP to be successful. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, that's rare, dude. That's some rare type situation like that happens, man. That it gets big and huge success. We hardly see that, man.
Oh no, and again, I don't disagree. You're right, and that's why we're talking about these old games coming back, because we know they're proven, and they know they're proven that people will go pick them up and play them. But at some point, you got to take a risk. You have to. And look, to be fair, Microsoft did. They did. Sunset Overdrive was a risk. What am I forgetting? They had another one early on in the Xbox One life cycle. I'm blanking now. but they did take a risk. There was another new IP they had early on.
Well, Rise.
Yeah, Rise. There you go. Rise was one. Mm-hmm. I feel like there was something.
Okay, it was all right.
I feel like there was something else too. They didn't catch on. I mean, we're just not going to see sequels from those, but the attempt was made. So, I mean, give credit where credit's due. Microsoft did have some new IPs early on in the Xbox
Quantum
One.
Break.
Thank you. That's the one I was thinking of, Quantum Break. And Quantum Break, I would say probably had moderate success, but let's be real. We're not going to get a sequel to that. They're not going to do that.
No.
I don't see it.
No. Man. I mean, there was a couple more that came out to Recore.
Which again wasn't that great.
That was a colossal flop in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean that had so much potential and hype behind it, and then
it had potential. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I really like Quantum Break. Now to me, I prefer Alan Wake than Quantum Break. But
that was all Remedy, right?
Quantum Break was a good game. I had a lot of fun playing it from start to finish.
And let's not forget Nintendo either. Outside of Splatoon, where's new IP that isn't called Mario something, or Donkey Kong something, or Metroid something, where something completely unique, a new character in the Nintendo catalog. Where is it? Splatoon is the only one I can think of off the top of my head. So they're all guilty of it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're all guilty of recycling proven franchises because they know they're going to make money. But I want to see more risk taken, and obviously that's where the indie market comes in. Look, a Cuphead as an example was a risk that obviously has paid off. You want to see more of that, but those are smaller games. I want to see more risk taken on the big AAA level, which, as we know, is a very hard thing to do because if you tank, lots of money is lost and a lot of jobs are lost at the same time. So there's a give and take on that.
By the way, before we go to the Call of Duty World League content, there was wasn't an interview with what's her name, Amy
Henning,
yeah, where she talked about Henning, not Henny. We ain't drinking. This ain't Henny.
Is it Henning or Hennig?
Hennig is aiming.
Hennig.
I don't know.
Hennig. It's Hennig.
It's Amy. Amy H.
All right, Amy. Let's go with Amy. All right. So they was it Polygon, the interview, or Kotaku? I can't remember exactly the website, but they interviewed her about single player versus multiplayer games. And I can't remember exactly the quote, but she said something like, look, everybody wants single players, but the majority of the people they'll just go to YouTube or Twitch and watch it. They watch the single player games instead of buying it. So the only way for companies to make money is multiplayer.
Yep.
The way how they're doing it now. DLC is not how it used to be.
Nope.
Right? The industry has changed. And I think after reading that part about that, like, it makes so much sense. I think we talked about that many times. And Pete, right? A lot of people were going at us, man. Like, why are you supporting this and this and that? Why are you not supporting single player games? I'm like, yo, it's not about that. We're talking about the business side. Like, things are changing. Companies are doing other things for them to make more money. It's like I said earlier, it's rare for a single player game to be successful. The Witcher 3, rare.
Unicorn.
Horizon. It's a unicorn. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's talk about games that it was single player. Quantum Break, for example. I think it was a good game. I think it was a good game, right? It wasn't no game of the year or anything like that, but it was a cool single player experience. Mm-hmm. How many people actually bought it? Not that. I think there could have been more people to buy it, and they never did.
No,
they'd rather buy something else that has multiplayer. They could play that the whole time.
That's why it's like you bring up The Witcher 3. I look at CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk, which is probably coming in the next 2 to 3 years. that's a single player game. I mean, of course, it's going to have some DLC attached to it and all that, but you think the financial investment that they're going to have to make in that scale of a single player game, I mean, where's the ROI coming? Where's that return on investment? I mean, the mass number of people that will have to purchase that game brand new is huge, because it's not like, all right, X amount. I'm just pulling random numbers out. It's not like 5 million people buy it brand new, but then you have another 5 million who buy it used, but those 10 million combined are all buying the loot boxes and the DLCs and the things that are attached to it. And that's where you make all your money. A single player game like a Witcher 3 or Cyberpunk as the example, you buy it that one time. And really, if you're a smart shopper, you don't buy it day one. You wait and buy it used and you get it cheaper, right? Because it's not like there's some anxiety that you have to play it day one because you got to get good at it for multiplayer. You can wait and play it later. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I totally get her point. You know, like even Horizon Zero Dawn, I'm so curious how much actual profit they made on that game versus all the money that Sony and Guerrilla Games probably had to throw at it for development time. I mean, obviously Frozen Wilds came out as some supplement DLC for it, but the core single player game was a $60 experience, but it was probably, and again, I'm just pulling a random number out, it was probably $100 million to make that game. Did Horizon Zero Dawn make $100 million back to support that, to make it a financial success? I don't know. Whereas Activision can keep chucking out Call of Duty every freaking year, and they make hand over fist, because not only are you going to buy the single player game, and you're going to buy it the first day because you got to get good at multiplayer. You can't wait. You're going to go buy the DLC because you want to keep playing with your buddies on the DLC. And then, you know, again, you throw the loot boxes in and all this other nonsense. And that's just the era we live in. And I don't think it was in this article, but I know I read another article saying even raising the price to $80 doesn't fix. Oh, actually, nameless EA employee who likes to take us to breakfast in Seattle said this. Even making it $80 doesn't fix the problem. That's still not enough, because if you don't buy it brand new, you ain't going to pay that $80 for it, and they're losing out on the complete sale anyway. So it's like, that's why they got the loot boxes and the DLC stuff in there, because that ties you into the ecosystem, and you're throwing money at the situation post-purchase. Post initial purchase, you're still spending money on the game. And look, the numbers have bared out. I don't buy that stuff. I just don't. If you telling me I got to buy a loot box, kiss my tuchus, I'm not buying it. I just don't. But I have to. But the numbers state a lot of people are freaking buying it. They make so much money off of that stuff. There's no incentive for them to ever stop it.
Yeah. So I had this conversation with my son again. It's funny. Him and I have this point counterpoint argument all the time about the viability of loot boxes and why they're there, etc. He thinks that, and he's the younger generation, right? So that's maybe that's why he sees it more as a psychological thing of trying to force people to adhere to norms, to societal norms. Maybe my son's just too brainy for me, and he just tries to throw that collegiate mumbo jumbo at me. But I mean, like you were saying, they have to do that from a business perspective because prices haven't changed in 15 years, right? And so if you take that into account, budgets have exploded by up to 200% on some of these AAA blockbuster titles. They got to come up with the money to break out even somewhere, somehow, some way. And if they were to price them now based on what the project budget was, is for some of these games now, to be able to get the game and the downloadable content, whether it's by season pass or whatever, you're looking at like $200+ a title, right? So yeah, games were $60 back in the day, but if you try to adjust for inflation and the cost of budget increases, etc., you're looking at $200. Let's take that into consideration. Do you want to pay $200 when you're buying Destiny 3, right? Are you going to pay that much money when you're buying Division 2? You know what I mean? Or PUBG 2.0, just to throw out a couple of new games that I'm still playing. that's one of the things you need to take into consideration, not to mention all of the other background, back end infrastructure and overhead, which people don't care to hear about, but you have to take those into consideration. And as a gamer, we have to be thankful that the industry has stayed at $60 as a sticking point for sales.
Well, here's another example where companies also could make money with multiplayer games, esports. When I went to that event in New Orleans for Call of Duty World League, there was a lot of gamers there, man. A lot of people trying to compete, and let's talk about Overwatch that just happened, the esports for that, right? I think now a couple of days ago, EA Sports announced for FIFA, they're going to have also a FIFA league. NBA 2K started their own NBA 2K league. So that's another way for companies to make money every year because everybody's going to compete. They'll buy the game and also they'll pay the fee to be part of the tournament. Plus having the audience to attend the event to watch, they also have to pay a fee. So there's different ways for companies to make money, man. So let me tell you, going to XP with Paris, watching Call of Duty XP, the championship.
Yep.
Yo, they had to be like over 100,000 people there in that place. That place
it's a different
was
world,
so
man. It's a different world. It's a different world that the average person doesn't necessarily think exists. But man, you go to one of these Call of Duty World XP events or the World Championships or whatever, and I mean, rabid fan base. They're buying all the merch. They're obviously buying the game because they hope to one day be joining one of those teams, like Danny's saying, to compete. I went to that wasn't last year. It was almost 2 years ago now. I went to the NBA 2K event that they had in LA. That Kobe was there because that's when Paul George was the cover athlete and they unveiled it. But they had the finals to that there. Packed house, packed. I thought I was at a damn NBA game the way people was in there cheering. You know what I'm saying? So
and you guys are seeing these. You guys are seeing those titles. You guys need to see. It's hard to explain, but I really wish that Paris and Danny, both of you guys, could go see the fervor and the frenzy of a League of Legends LCS match. It is
Dota.
I seen video.
And Dota. They sell out.
Yeah.
They sell out arenas.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why companies are doing more multiplayer games, because this is a way for them to make more money. You can't do no esports with The Witcher 3. You can't.
Well, I mean, let's take it into consideration.
Actually, wrong.
Gwent, maybe, but not a Witcher 3 single player.
Gwent. Yeah, Gwent. Yeah, Gwent. Yeah, you're right. All right. So we're gonna play this audio. This is recorded live from the Call of Duty World League in New Orleans. Hopefully, we're gonna be attending more events. Because that was a lot of fun. Because I met a lot of the journalists that were there, and they've been to more esports events than me. So they were like breaking it down, like, okay, who's this, who's that? They were telling me about the teams. They're telling me the story behind. They were even telling me about trading. Like they will trade players to other teams, exactly like a regular sporting event. Man, it was dope. But I had a great conversation, and I'm gonna play right now here on Gamer Tag Radio. We'll be right back.
There are so many reasons why I got into teaching.
One of the best things is the light bulb moment.
When you see a pupil suddenly understand something, that's really, really special.
Every child is so full of potential, and the thing that makes me proudest to be a teacher is seeing them realise what they are capable of.
I don't think any other job can give you the same satisfaction.
That's why I chose to teach.
You could get £26,000 tax-free to train. Search, apply to teach. Selected subjects only, subject to eligibility.
At LV, our car insurance comes from the heart. That's why we've just launched our new multi-car cover. One policy and one renewal date means it's one simple way for you to save on your family's cars. So just imagine how much you can save by insuring 2, 3, or even more cars with us. To get your exclusive multi-car discount from the Which Insurance Provider of the Year 2017, go direct to lv.com. T's and C's apply.
Back on the scene.
This is Gamer Tag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
right, so we're live here at the Call of Duty World League, and we have the director of Call of Duty Esports, Kevin Flynn. How are you doing, Kevin?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Welcome to CWL New Orleans.
Well, last time we met was at the Orlando event, which was amazing. I had a great time. I know we talked about this last time about the changes this year. Can you tell us a little bit what changes you guys made this year compared to last year?
Yeah, sure. I think there are probably two key changes to call out. Number one was for our Pro League, which everyone's trying to qualify for this weekend, and our Pro League is where the top 16 teams in the world are going to play in a more of a league-style format. Last year we had 4 groups of 4, and this year we've changed that to 2 divisions of 8. That's definitely a big change for us, and alongside that change, we've moved the nights we're going to broadcast from the weekend to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And also we're going to start the season earlier so that these guys are just a couple of weeks away from starting. And then we've introduced a new level of competition, and we've called it the CWL National Circuit. And this is an online experience for teams that don't quite make the Pro League, but want to continue their competitive journey, and they want to carry on trying to shoot to make it for Stage 2. So across 8 different countries and regions, a single round robin style competition is going to take place across 4 stages. And every stage, the teams that win get the chance to come to a big event like this. We'll give them some pocket money, put them up in a hotel, and make sure they get their team pass entry as well. So hopefully that's going to give something for players all around the world to aspire for.
So you guys also are focusing a lot also to have events on the East Coast, right? A lot more this year too, or what?
I think we're quite essential for quite a few events actually, but the main thing is we want to get the CWL around, and we want to take it to different places. This year we've come back to New Orleans, but for the first time as the CWL, the Call of Duty World League. Then we're going to go to Seattle for the first time, which I'm excited about. I'm looking forward to there. And then we're going to take this whole global event to England as well, which obviously I'm very happy about. And we're going to go to Birmingham and put up $200,000 and have a big old tournament and a good old time. So I think it's important you try to keep it fresh, but at the same time we all want to go to Anaheim as well, right? We all want to go there. It's the spiritual home of competitive Call of Duty, and we always look forward to having a summer event in California.
I know you mentioned the UK. What about like countries like Canada, maybe Latin America? They're huge fans of this game, and I know there's some players that also compete from those countries. Do you think in the future we might also see that based on the feedback from everybody else?
Yeah, we're open to like cities around the world. Like, it just so happens that the international event, or the one happening internationally, is in England. Could have been Sydney, Australia. It could have been Dubai. It could have been Toronto. It could have been you know what I mean. It's very open. We're super open to all of those opportunities, and yeah, who knows where we'll be next year? We haven't figured it out yet. Latin America and South America, we know that there's a lot of passion for esports in both regions, and so we've taken the step to introduce a pilot program. And so from the national circuit, and we have those 4 stages, those 2 regions, countries, are going to have 1 stage each. But that stage, and if you do well, you'll get a shot at our last chance qualifier. More details to come on that later in the year. But by going to that last chance qualifier, you're one great weekend or a couple of days away from going to champs. So hopefully, for all the Brazilian fans and the Mexican fans who are playing, that's something for you guys to aspire for. And we hope to see some strong players and great teams from both regions.
Another question too is the fans. They like to be involved with this and stuff like that. I know you mentioned about that you have another bracket too for those that are not really the pro players or anything like that. How is the process for those that don't know much about that?
Yeah, so we definitely have quite an established path to pro to get on the main stage. Starting at the very bottom is game battles, and you can get to game battles directly in game now from the playlist menu. So that's the start, and that's where you can earn your very first pro points. From there, we have our weekend competitions called 2Ks. They're worth a few more pro points. They're a little bit more competitive. And then you start getting into these extra layers of competition. So the national circuit is probably there, and you go up another notch, and it's these global opens, $200,000 a time. And then you go on a step more, and it's our Pro League. and that's really that LAN environment, best of the best, playing each other every day. And then at the top of that tree is champs, and that's kind of how our events scale up across the year. We're seeing it right now. We have the open bracket, like you mentioned, and I know that there was the 18th and 23rd seeds. They were playing a match to make it onto main stage. Now, for those guys who have come here this weekend, that's what they're shooting for, right? That's what they've come to do. They want to have a go at playing the best teams in the world and hitting the main stage. I think it's really, really great to see that, and to see that it's not just the top 8 seeds battling it out to get there, but actually it's been really open. There's been lots of upsets in the open bracket, and I think that's awesome. If you're on your game, if you're beaming, you can take anyone down, and that's what's awesome about these open brackets is you could be going against TK or Optic Gaming during your weekend if it's your time, and if you communicate right with your teammates and play to the right levels, you could come and take it all.
Is there any teams that surprise you from the lower bracket or higher brackets too?
There's been a couple of teams where I'm surprised they've got knocked into the losers bracket already. I don't want to call those guys out, but it's definitely been a surprise. I think Vitality have had another great event. They've come and done well again, and took a map off Optic, but they beat Envy. Those guys, I think they deserve a shout out, and great for France to have such a popular team to root for as well. But no, I mean, like I said, at the moment, it's certainly there's not many of the top 10 seeds left to get into pools, and I wish them all the very best of luck. I hope they all have a great day on the main stage and get a couple of wins.
And for more information about the event, how people can check it out?
Yeah, so you can, there's lots of ways to watch now, right? So you can watch on Twitch, on the Call of Duty channel on Twitch, MLG, obviously, and MLG.com/Call of Duty is where you end up with our EVE player. So source quality video, questions for an interactive game while you're playing, and integrated statistics. So it's a great place to watch MLG, and then in game as well in the headquarters. So there's plenty of places to watch. If you want to find out more, I'd say follow at COD World League on Twitter and at MLG on Twitter. Two great places for information as well. And if you're in New Orleans, maybe you can swing by still tomorrow if you want to, and check out Championship Sunday.
Where's the next event after this?
We're going to Atlanta. So we were in Atlanta last year. Really great event. Really hyped. That's when we saw E United again go from nowhere to the main stage to beating Optic Gaming, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, we're back in Atlanta in March. March the 10th. I know that because it's my wife's birthday and I'm in trouble. So yeah, Atlanta in March, and I can't wait.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
Nice one. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, so we're live here in Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana. We just finished watching the Call of Duty World League here, and I have a special guest here. This is Joe Bartle. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, I am the esports editor at eGamer News, which is a parent company of RotoWire, a fantasy sports organization that does a whole bunch of different content for a wide variety of sites: ESPN, Fox Sports, Yahoo, the whole shebang, I should say. And eGamer News is going to try and do the same type of deal for esports as well. So I've been covering Call of Duty now for 3 years, but I've also dabbled in Dota 2. Our site covers every esport under the sun. We do other video games as well. And it's been a whirlwind experience since we kind of started it a couple of years ago now.
All right, man. So let's talk about Call of Duty, man. World League. It was very crazy, especially at the end. Two things that was going on. We were watching the NFL playoffs, and we were watching also the grand finals. Man, both match was just back-to-back crazy, man. But it was really, really good. But let's talk about recap, man. Your thoughts about this whole weekend, man, the tournament.
I don't think we've seen a better series of competitive Call of Duty since the inception of the Call of Duty World League, which was 3 years ago. Luminosity Gaming is one of the best teams. They were one of the best teams entering the year. Team Caliber was pretty unheard of, and they ended up winning CWL Dallas, the first big LAN event of the year, and then were able to repeat in this performance as well. But it was such a back-and-forth affair where we had Luminosity Gaming, who acquired 2 stars during the offseason, really shining bright with JCap and John. And then you had guys like Dylan and Theory and Chino and Kenny too, kind of going off in that own thing. And it was just a back and forth affair, given that Caliber hadn't lost a series at all in 3 months since this whole season started. It was kind of crazy to think about. And that LG actually handed it to him. And then they had to reset the whole bracket again and go about the whole thing. And then went, of course, to a round 5 search and destroy, in which Team Caliber was able to pull out the victory. It was one of the best back and forth series I've ever seen. I think the casters did a great job emphasizing the important moments. If you were to get into esports and you were to get into competitive Call of Duty, this would be the series that I would show you. It was really, truly one of the best things that you could watch. It was such a joy to be able to cover.
Yeah, Team Caliber, I noticed that for a second there, I was like, man, what's going on? They were ahead, and then they were not playing good for a while, man. Like, what happened?
That's a really good question. We actually talked to them afterwards, and they started out the series. They had lost. I think they won the first initial hard point, or at least they had in the previous time. They had played Luminosity Gaming even before that too. So this was their second time playing them, which ended up being 3 in the last 4 or 5 matches. So it all gets kind of meshed together at some point. I think Team Caliber was comfortable and confident in what they had been doing really for the past 2 months, but certainly in this tournament too, which was playing their type of style. You'll hear the casters say, okay, the other teams are slaying out of their mind. They're killing a lot of the opposition. But Team Caliber has always been pretty finite in the moves they're making. They're very strategic in the avenues that they're taking, whether it be a hard point, whether it be search and destroy. There's very few times where you watch a play and you're like, oh, Team Caliber made a mistake. And I think that's really rare to see in competitive Call of Duty because people want to go off. They want to make these crazy plays, make a YouTube video montage and stuff like that. And that's not just the pros. That's just even the public scene too. Caliber's never been that way, it feels like, since World War II started. And they just simply weren't able to make the plays. Luminosity Gaming wasn't making a mistake either. And I think they have the better slayers overall out of that group, and they just are better, more talented people. But all it takes is 1 or 2 mistakes, and Caliber's always capitalizing. And I think that's where you saw that in their first series. And then, of course, when the bracket reset, it was 0-0 again. Caliber's able to wipe that out, and kind of you could see the confidence and level that came with that.
And what happened to Optic Gaming? Because they're a team that is really well known. They won last year, right?
Yes.
What happened to them this time around? Because I was surprised. I thought they were going to end at least probably in the finals, but what happened to them?
That's a really good question. Entering Call of Duty World War II, Optic Gaming was by far and away the best team in there. There was a couple of online tournaments that they were able to win to start out. Team Caliber was hanging around at that point, but we didn't really know what Team Caliber was. We knew what Optic Gaming was. They had just won the World Championships in Orlando only a couple months prior to the release of World War II. And that was the first time that 4 iteration of players was able to put together a title. But they had won so many other events before. I want to say combined, those guys had to have at least 50 victories, LAN events between the 4 teams. I think, simply put, the Optic Gaming roster right now is still the 4 best players in competitive Call of Duty. I still think Scump, Crim6, Formal, Karma are 4 of the best players that you will ever see. I think if we're talking about Hall of Fame stuff, and of course competitive Call of Duty hasn't been around that long where we can start talking about a Hall of Fame, but if you were, I think these guys have to be in that conversation. I don't know if it's a confidence level. I'm not sure if there's a practice regimen that they aren't missing. Historically, when Optic Gaming has struggled, it's because they haven't practiced well in the past. And you'll hear those guys talk about it afterwards because they have such a good streaming presence and popularity. They can kind of control that own narrative. So it's tough to really understand and read where it comes from. But from the horse's mouth, I think those guys will say the practice regimen comes to play. And that might have been the situation that occurred here where they had the worst finish that foursome has had since they came about, which was pretty surprising.
Was there any other teams also that surprised you from the lower bracket? Any surprises?
That is a good one. I think Rise Nation, who ended up taking 3rd in this event, was a pretty big deal. They made multiple roster moves prior to CWL New Orleans. And historically, you look at teams that make roster moves, and it isn't always a great thing. You don't want to jeopardize that communication and teamwork that you have heading into such a pivotal LAN event, which dictates basically the entire season the rest of the way as we know it. When they made those moves, it did feel like they were for the better. They acquired methods, they acquired Gunless in separate transactions. I didn't think they would be able to do what they did as far as a 3rd place finish goes. That organization, the guy Looney is the leader for that. He's had moments in the past where you're doubting Rise Nation and they end up doing really well. it's in part because of him, but I think in this case, it was in part because the addition of methods has really added a different layer to that team. They're now one that will and could potentially slay with the best of them. There isn't a team where I think that Rise Nation could lose to when it comes to slaying if everyone's on point. And to have that dimension, one that they really haven't had in the past couple of LAN tournaments, I think that was a surprise to me. It was a good surprise to see that unfold at New Orleans.
Do you see any predictions for the next one? Is it Atlanta? That's the next one, right?
Well, Atlanta is the next LAN event, but we now know CWL Stage 1, which really, if you're talking about, I'm super into traditional sports. You're talking earlier about how we were watching the football game, and I'm really into that. Basically, what the Call of Duty World League has created in the sense is 2 regular seasons. The first regular season competitive quality is called Stage 1, and that's next. That starts in 2 weeks. You'll see teams, 16 teams all over the world. I think 5 European teams, 1 from the Australia Pacific region, and then 10 North American teams compete over the course of 5 or 6 weeks to come out on top of the regular season. They're split into divisions, just like an AFC or NFC for football, if we want to go into that. And they'll play each other twice throughout the course of these Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The action will take place. So that's the next event that comes to place. If you're asking me to predict that, that's going to be so tough. I mean, to figure out how the action's going to unfold over the 5 weeks or whatever it is unbelievable in itself. But of course, there's always different little adjustments that Activision is making to the game itself. Because you got to remember, there's always going to be different meta changes that occur in Call of Duty World War II because maybe a gun's overpowered in the public scene and that needs to get fixed or whatever else. So it's tough to say whether it ends up being a submachine gun meta or assault gun meta, how things will unfold. I really believe Team Caliber is one of the best teams out there. Obviously, they've won the last 2 events. But I would be hard-pressed to put my money on them winning a three-peat. I think that there is a bit of diversity in the scene right now. And there are so many other teams that I know could go off that it's tough to pick them to do it again 3 straight. I think it would be a really impressive feat, in that sense.
Was there anything, any matches back before you started writing for esports that got you into esports? Because a lot of people probably, they're listening to this, they don't know much about esports. They might hear here and there about like League of Legends. Now Overwatch is doing their own thing now too. So was it a match? Was it a game or something that got your attention and got you into esports?
That's a good question. I don't know if there was a match per se. I think I had kind of done esports in the past. I understood I was a professional Madden player and a very bad one at that, but I competed at a few tournaments and everything else. So I knew that part of it. I knew what esports was. I didn't know to the extent where we are now. Obviously, it's grown considerably since I really started doing this 3 years ago. But the first event, I had played Call of Duty. I liked Call of Duty. I understood what it was. That was about the easiest game for me to get in terms of esports. And I still think it is today. If you're getting into esports, Call of Duty is probably the best one to try and figure out. It wasn't so much a match or anything else like that, but it was the community that I was kind of thrown into. I know I kind of just got thrown into this as I knew Call of Duty. I volunteered to go ahead and cover a few of these tournaments, and I got to go to my first event, which was Stage 2 of the inaugural Call of Duty World League. And in there, I was able to meet a couple of players, kind of do some interviews about stuff. And I recall John, who now is on Luminosity Gaming, this timid kid who really at the time hadn't blossomed into the superstar that he is today. And he had just absolutely went off and ended up winning the event basically for his team at that time. And I had talked to him afterwards, and he was like, "This is my first interview I got to do. This is kind of cool that somebody's talking to me." And I'm like, "You think this is cool? I think this is cool that I'm talking to you, that I get to be able to share your story, to be able to do it." And really, there's so many avenues and doors that are open in the Call of Duty scene that I didn't think were possible. I didn't think I would be able to form these relationships with these people and these teams and these players. I think that's what's really drawn me into esports and got me to love it as much as I do. It certainly wasn't anything I could have expected when I first started doing this.
So mention your website, people could check it out. And I know you have a lot of articles coming up, right? So yeah, promote it. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, eGamer News is our esports website. We cover, again, a whole bunch of different esports, League of Legends, Dota 2, Hearthstone. We'll be doing an article recap for the World Championships that are going on next week. Obviously, Call of Duty. Overwatch, we're writing a recap for every single game that's going on during the initial start of the Overwatch World League. Same thing will be for League of Legends, too. We also do a unique thing where we actually cover the individual players themselves. I really believe that there's going to be a fantasy scene that erupts for esports in the near future. And we've already got that market covered. So we have every single player, like a guy like John, who I just mentioned before, or even Theory or Chino, who I know we'll be hearing a little bit later on, will have their individual performances broken down on the eGamer News site. We'll be talking about Chino and what he did in relation to Team Caliber and how that helped them win. We have notes going back for Chino as far as 2 or 3 years ago, too. So, and that's for most of the different esports. I think it's a really neat site, and I like, I can't say enough for the content guys we have on our site that are able to provide different analysis and humor and a community, I think, that is developed from eGamer News. It's a cool site, and I'm pretty privileged to be able to run it and be able to be partnered with those guys.
You know what? I forgot to ask this question, man, because I know Overwatch just started, right? Yeah. What are your thoughts about that tournament, Overwatch?
I think Overwatch and the Overwatch World League, which is just started this week, and the first time we really met, we were talking a lot about that, and you were really interested in pinging me on questions back and forth, and it was a great conversation. I think Overwatch World League is going to be huge for where esports goes in the future. I think right now where esports is, it's on the cusp of breaking through worldwide, where it's a thing that isn't just, oh, these guys are eating Cheetos, drinking Mountain Dew, and playing video games, where it's a thing that people take seriously, they get into, and they enjoy. The fact that there's franchising involved, that Overwatch is trying to build interest not to the teams, not to the player, or not to the players themselves, but really the location. We see the Dallas Fuel, we see the Los Angeles Gladiators. We put an emphasis on the city to bring the traditional sports aspect to Overwatch. Really hasn't been done before in any other esport. How that venture goes, how they're able to grow that scene out, how they're able to get people interested in esports as a city, as opposed to players or teams, is going to be one to monitor as far as the growth of everything goes. And it's going to be incredibly impactful for how esports is in the future.
And we're going to wrap it up with this last question right here. I would like to see more also women to be involved with esports too. Why is that hasn't happened yet? Because I know we've seen that maybe in like other esports for PC games, but console wise, I haven't really seen that yet. Why is that?
That's true. We actually talked to a few of the women's open bracket players at CWL Dallas. The CWL Dallas, CWL New Orleans. This was the largest open bracket in Call of Duty World League history. And as a result, there's a wide variety of teams that are able to compete, some of which were girls. And actually, I think they won a couple of rounds as well, too. But we haven't really seen people really crack into the upper echelons of competitive quality that are women. I don't quite know what it is. I would be curious to talk to people that know much more than me. I won't pretend to be able to speak for the female gender at all. I think that would be naive of me to try and pretend to get in the mind of that. But I wonder if there's just better opportunities out there as far in the gaming world as opposed to actually competing. I think you really have to want it. And I think you really have to have some thick skin too. And that's a tough thing to deal with. I get frustrated at times that women in particular in gaming get dismissed so easily because it really isn't that much different from a guy to a girl to be able to play this stuff. And I think if you talk to any reasonable amount of person, they would agree with me too on that aspect. But there's a lot of different avenues that they can take as opposed to competitive gaming that maybe is a situation for. I really hope someday we'll have a situation where some girls watching at home on Twitch and watching the Overwatch League and like, I want to do this. I want to be able to compete and be able to do it and be able to get to that level and be able to be included in that. I think we're close. I think that there's a situation and there's ways that can go about, but there needs to be encouragement from all aspects. We can't be demeaning anybody. We can't be trying to not harass, but decline or kind of push aside those things, because that's where esports has grown, because we weren't pushed aside. We weren't excluded. We kind of hung around and stuck around and bonded together as a community. That's what has to happen in these instances for more women to be a part of the esports community. I really, really hope that's going to be something that continues to happen.
That's a great way to end the show, man. All right, but thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem. Thank you for having me on.
Back on the scene. This is Gamer Tag Radio.
All right, so we're going to continue with our coverage live from Call of Duty World League, New Orleans. And we interviewed the champs, Team Caliber's own Chino. He also is the MVP of the whole tournament. So we had a great conversation. It's only him talking, but it's a great conversation about winning, how it felt like being part of this tournament and everything, and their goals for later this year, man. So, and once we finish with that, we're gonna end the show. So check it out.
I would definitely say that's probably the toughest one I've played so far. I've been to finals before, and most of the time it's through losers. Last event I got through 2 winners, and I won in the first series, so it was really good. But I've never been to a second series in a finals before, so that was really interesting. And I'm just really glad we came out there because I was really stressed out. I felt like we kind of threw away a couple maps that we should have won, and I'm just happy we came out on top. I would say our Gibraltar, I think that needs some work on the hardpoint map, and I think just making sure we make a little less mistakes. I felt like we made a lot of just little mistakes where if we made one better play, we could have won the map, and I think if we do that, we'll be really good. The last one, a lot of people were doubting us because there was a bump that happened, so we weren't able to play a match. There was a delay, I think, after another match, and we ended up finishing that finals at 1 a.m., I think. And a lot of people just said that we kind of didn't deserve it, and it was a fluke. And the fact that we won this one and we worked really hard, especially in the grand finals, made me really happy, and I'm glad that it went down that way. It feels great. I felt like anybody on my team could have got at this event. But there was I guess I would say pool play is what really made me stand out. I won us a couple maps on St. Marie Hardpoint that were really, really close. And it's just cool to have MVP. Next is playoffs, and we're going to try to place in the top of our group there. And then after playoffs, I think we have Atlanta. So next open event is Atlanta in a couple months, and then playoffs, and hopefully we get to the next stage. Surprised me, I would say Lightning Panda. Oh, why? Lightning Pandas really surprised me. They just played really well. I wasn't expecting them to play as well as they did. They just made plays that I wasn't expecting, and I wish they could have done better because I know they didn't really have that great of a run. But I think that team could get a lot better. And I would say Rise. Rise really surprised me. I knew they were good. We played them online, but I to come out and actually prove it on LAN, and Methods especially proving himself is it's just really good. It's really good to show that you're good. Before tournaments, I would say our practice gets a little bit more we start going more and more each day. But I would say for me personally, I try to get at least 4 hours in. If it's with my team, if it's playing by myself, if we take a day off, I still try to play. But it's usually between 4 to 8 hours, depending on how much you really want to play. Kind of like a job, I guess you could say. I could see us winning at least 3 more times this year if we play like how we should.
Gamertag Radio is on radio.com.
You can now watch Gamertag Radio live on Twitch.
Get all the latest news and coverage related to the gaming industry.
Join hosts Danny Pena, Paris Lilly, and Peter Toledo.
Don't miss the crew record the podcast live Sundays, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get involved with the conversation, send us questions, and be part of the show.
Gamertag Radio.
Follow us, twitch.tv/Gamertag Radio.
All right, so we're back here, Gamertag Radio. We're going to wrap it up here. I think that was a great conversation, man. Great conversation, man. We'll see what happens. Hopefully by next week, we probably find out more news because slowly the year started and slowly we've been getting some announcements here and there, man. So that's dope. That's really, really dope. Head over to gamertagradio.com, post your comments and feedback. Also, you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and other podcast directories. And I know I mentioned iTunes, but I have to remember this. They changed the name now to Apple Podcasts. It's not iTunes anymore. So Apple Podcasts.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
Another thing, the documentary is already done. I'm waiting for a couple more things, but it's officially done. So we're going to play live on Twitch on the 13th anniversary of Gamertag Radio, February 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. Pacific. And make sure to tune in. We're going to play here live on Twitch. So don't miss it. 2/25/18. All right. Anything else you guys want to say?
Yeah, I see a study here that says that people who swear are more likely to be honest, which tells me the three of us are probably the most truthful people on the planet, because outside of this podcast, I think I curse more than anyone I know.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Let me tell you, if our chat get leaked, oh man.
Oh my God, scandal. hey, I don't even want to joke about it. Oh my God, that would be terrible.
Yeah, too funny. Pete, you want to say anything else, Pete?
No, that's no comment.
No comments. All right. Until next time, yo. Peace. Laters.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.